Okay, guys, we did it. We made it through all 7 sensory systems. And I don't know about you, but I'm tired. No, I'm glad to be able to bring you that information. I think it's really relevant to our everyday life. I hope that you can see how much our sensory preferences dictate the things that we enjoy participating in. Because our world is a sensory-filled place, and our bodies are constantly trying to process through that different sensory input. So throughout the week, I had several random thoughts that I thought, I should have said that in my initial video, and I forgot. So I just wanted to provide a wrap-up with those thoughts. I think, first of all, after this week, you can see just how complex sensory processing is. It is 7 systems that each have their own preference. And they all mesh together to give us different behavioral responses. So it can be really complex to kind of tether all of that out. But again, I think it's important for us to attempt to understand how that looks in our everyday life. So I wanted to give you some examples for myself. I am proprioceptive seeking. I love deep bear hugs. I love sleeping under a heavy blanket. I avoid vestibular stimulation. I do not like swinging on monkey bars. I do not like merry-go-rounds or roller coasters. I am sensitive to auditory stimulation. If you ask my family, I'm always asking them to turn down the radio or turn down the television. In the morning, I really covet like 30 minutes of quiet time by myself. If I don't get that time, I'm kind of grumpy. So anyways, that is kind of how some different sensory systems look for me. The next point that I wanted to make was to encourage you to offer those sensory experiences naturally throughout their day. For our kiddos who seek out additional movement, we want them to be on the move throughout their day. For those kiddos who may be avoidant of vestibular stimulation, we don't want to put them in overwhelm or meltdown mode before we offer them a calming experience. So again, just by being aware throughout our day of how those different sensory systems can present themselves in behavior, I think that's really relevant to us, whether we're at school or at home. The next one is to help our children identify how our body is feeling. If we use language to help them understand what their behavior is as it pertains to their sensory processing patterns, we can hopefully help them to start recognizing that themselves, and then they're able to kind of self-monitor a little bit more. If they feel their body kind of getting out of control, then they can, again, choose an experience that would help them to regulate. And the last, but certainly not least point that I wanted to make is for you to understand that not all children are able to communicate how their body is feeling. I guess it kind of ties into the last one. But when I'm working at school, I have a lot of different kiddos who cannot communicate that to me, whether that's because they're nonverbal, whether that's because they're not of the age yet to have that vocabulary. It may be that they have experienced such trauma that they don't know how their body feels. So again, just to create an awareness and understanding of how we can help kiddos be aware, people be aware of how they're feeling, and then to help them, again, to self-regulate. So I hope this series has been helpful. I hope that you have learned some strategies and some supports. I'm always here if you need additional support. So don't hesitate to message me if you need anything.